Yo, 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 hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I hope you can hear me okay, because I'm using the overhead mic today. And yes, it is a surprise live. But I'm going to be recording this as well, and I need your help. Before I start doing this, make sure you tell me to hit record, because I'm not recording quite yet. But yes, I thought I'd put in an off-the-cuff live because this arrived today. I've removed the address stickers off the side of it. But yes, this is that box of goggles. So what I'm going to do is record this because this will probably go out as a separate video. But I thought I would do it live because it would be quite interesting to do live. So what I'm going to do is give it a few minutes and just as this was a completely random stream, just let people roll on in a little bit. We're not going to get great numbers because it isn't the typical stream day. And yeah, let's see. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is, I bought these as customer return faulty. And we're going to see what the score is. And I'm going to do this as a recording of a video, but I'm also going to do it live as a chat as well, which would be quite good. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what we have here, because I've not looked myself. We could have anything with this, from a complete shit show that a customer has ripped them off, or we could have something really simple. So the plan is we'll get them out, we'll get them unboxed, we'll look over them first and try and ascertain how much they've been used. We should be able to see that. How bad they are. We'll give them a shake. We'll give it a sniff. And then we'll power it up and see what happens. And then we'll see if it works. And then we'll tear them down. Now I'm just running over to the bench to grab a few things. I will be back any moment now. Just grabbing myself a few lipos. I really do need to get another bench supply, actually. My last one set itself on fire, which is rather frustrating. Who'd have thought it was Toolkit RC? That ties into Sunday's stream. Let me just find... Where's my lipo checker? I have a bench lipo checker, and that's vanished as well. Which is annoying. Alright, I'll plug it into a charger to check. Let me just check the voltages. That'll be alright. Yeah, that one's fine. That's cool. And we're going to want a fan as well, because the VTX will probably overheat before we will be able to finish really doing the testing. So let me get full screen. I need to put the bench up a little bit. And now I am going to record this a little bit and sort of do it as a live recording, so bear with me. Yes, I paid for broken goggles. And you will see in a moment. So let me hit record. Right, we're recording. So today we are going to be taking a look at this. Now, for those of you who don't watch my live stream, this is a set of broken goggles that I bought from Hobby RC in the UK. One of the guys on my Discord server posted this as a bit of a deal, and I'll just hop to the desktop. There you can see what it was. It was a set of the Fatshark Dominator HD goggles, customer return for £180. And what they say is this: customer return, sold for spares only, problem with range receiving signal, no returns. Now, what I thought was this would be a great video to see what the score is. And the reality here is this: I may have bought a complete lemon. I may have bought something that's been dropped, damaged. I don't know. I haven't opened it. We're going to go on this journey together. And that's what we're going to do next. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say a thank you to my Patreons, because I would not be able to waste your money without your support. Yeah, sorry about that. But if you would like to support us to keep doing things like this in the future, please do make sure you check it out. Anyway, so let's get on with it and let's go to the overhead. So I've removed the stickers on this so you guys don't have any address stuff or anything like that. I haven't even opened the box. I'm just going to slice it either side. Now I am going to be a little careful a minute because there's probably an invoice in here. Yeah, it's right there. Okay, so what I'm just going to do a minute is I'm going to move it to the side. I'm going to grab the invoice out, toss it on the floor over there out the way, come back, and then we're done. So, hey, who wants a code for Hobby RC to get 5% off? It is there. Go for it. First person to use it wins. Let me know in the comments if you do. Let's see if it goes before the end of the live stream. As always with Hobby RC, we get the suite, which they always include, and then we get the goggles itself. Now, they're labelled customer return. It's quite hard to show you on this camera because I've got a lot of light in here. It's quite white. Box looks clean. I'll be honest. Box looks good. I wouldn't say the box has been particularly heavy handled. I know you're getting a bit of white out there. I may adjust the camera if we continue to get it. But yeah, I don't think that looks particularly bad. Inside looks clean. No really signs of issues. Okay, the case is open. I didn't do that. Looking around this, doesn't look to have been a lot of use on the case. Any mud or anything on the bottom? A couple of fingerprints, but nothing really. Are we ready? Let's go for the lid. Boom. Inside, we have the typical sheet. I'll get to the smell in a minute. It smells okay there so far. Goggles. Looking around externally very quickly. I'll be honest, so far, do look very new. Loose antenna connector there. I will give them a sniff in a minute for the usual. Right, if we look in the face mask area. So, all of this does look very clean. The lens protectors have been removed. There's no SD card in there. But I'll be honest, they do look as you would get them brand new. A bit of dust, but other than that, okay. Okay, interesting. Let's look in the box. We have the cleaning cloth. And we have the power cable. It's not really easy to see if it's got a lot of use. It does show a little bit of signs there, but yeah, a bit of stuff in the bottom of the case though. Not the cleanest, but okay. So, let's look around the goggles. That functions. That one is loose. That one is tight. That one is loose. That one is loose. Interesting. What I'm going to do is do the It's not total burny. There's a bit of a funny smell though. Okay. Strange. Go back on the overhead. Power button works fine. Don't think the face mask has been used. Let's have a look if anyone's been in here. That's on. I don't know, yeah. I wouldn't say anyone's been in it. Optically, can't see anything yet. Okay, so externally everything looks good. Joystick. Yeah, button. It does feel new. That does not feel like that's had a lot of use. Okay, so externally they're clean. Certainly not a complete crap show. So, the next thing to do is power them up. So let's pop them there. Let's do this. Bring the bench up a bit. Okay. Power them up on a LiPo. And let's see what happens. So they're tuning on. Avatar uses the same receiver as the Goggles X. Not the same board. No, different board. Same chipset and everything. I'm not worried about antennas. It won't burn. I'll stick one on the TX port. When I find one. There we go. Let's grab a DJI one. I'll stick one on the TX port. We'll grab a DJI one. I'll stick one on the top two, and I tell you why. Just in case someone has swapped things around inside. That one is very loose. Okay. Let's put another two on just to keep people happy. Borrowing the antennas off DJI. I'll put them all on just in case someone has been playing and has done something. Okay, all the antenna ports are very loose. Wow, look at that. All the antenna ports are very loose. I wonder if someone just returned it because of that. They are... That's not great. Okay, so let me tell you what I can see. Both displays are on. We have full menu system. Buttons and controls seem to work fine. Goggles have come with firmware version. Let's check. 34.40.15. Can't remember what that is. Displays look fine. Absolutely no issues at all. So, no issues with the displays, menu systems, controlling everything good. So, the next thing we need to do is power it up with a VTX. So, I'm going to get a VTX up and running, which I've got on the bench here. We're going to use a spare Moonlight that I've got. I'm going to have a fan working as well, right? Because a fan is always handy to keep this VTX cool, because it will try to set itself on fire fairly quickly. Shush. Okay. So, we need a tool to bind. We're going to need a set of tweezers. Where are my sharp tweezers gone? Whoa, my cable's wrapped around my chair. Okay, we'll use these ones. These ones will be fine. So, we're going to put the VTX into binding mode. Actually, let's do the goggles first. I always do the goggles first. There we go. We're going to put the VTX into binding. Boom. VTX is connected. I heard the beeping stop. We have video. It's whinging about firmware versions. Interesting. It is showing a little bit of interference on one of the bars. Channel 3 isn't showing particularly great, but channel 1 is showing okay. I'd have to compare it to what my other goggles try it as outside. What we are going to do in a minute, though, is pull the cover off and have a look what's going on inside. Video's connected. Let me just see what settings I've got on the VTX just to make sure it's not going to burn itself out. Yeah, I got standby mode turned off. So, sorry, let me just adjust that. So far, everything looks okay. Yeah, I think what we're going to end up doing, we're going to end up tearing them apart, seeing if we can see anything, and if we can't, we'll end up having to take them for a fly, because at the moment, everything looks pretty good. There's not an antenna properly tight. Yeah, that's for sure. And I am wondering if they were returned for that reason and someone just assumed there was a problem with the antennas when they were getting poor signal on the system. I think, look, based on everything so far, they've powered up, they've turned on, they've kicked in. Yeah, displays look good. I think, really, the next job is let's tear them down and see if there's anything going on the antennas, because at this point, everything looks very good. So, let's just power that down. Okay, so at this, let's get the antennas off, and really... Working period of goggles. I had 2 Goggles X and a Dominator HD so far, with everything various issues from crashes, opsies to pixels. What is interesting is just how loose these ports are. I wonder if the person returned them because of that. So, let's get the cover off and tear them down and have a look. Okay, so that cover is removed. Now, tearing these goggles down is actually quite a bit of a pain, because you need a... Most of my screwdrivers don't fit, and I do have one I made for this, and now I got to find it. Let me just have a look. Not that one, not that one. It's going to be one of these. Aha, got it. I end up cutting one down, and it's not working very well now, but it works enough. Okay, so let's tear it down and have a look and see. Let me take the strap off. No one likes a strap on. Right, let me just work my way around the screws. Screws feel tight. This one is... I can't really comment if this has been taken apart, because what I would say is, so far, I'm not seeing evidence of anyone have been in there. But, bit of a rattle on the optics, but nothing fantastic. What we're going to do, just get all the screws out. Top 2 definitely don't want to fall out. That's just... I can feel the front is releasing now. There we go. Sorted. So that's the bottom 2 screws. The top ones haven't come out. So, if we do a pull... Ta-da! And the first thing I just want to see is all the antennas connected. Right, they are. So I can confirm all the antennas are connected on the board. Let me just come in a bit closer for you. So, looking... all the UFLs are in place. Nothing is loose. Screen cables are on. All looks good so far. So just to show you there, let's come out a little bit. That all looks good. Antenna ports look fine. So let's carefully get these off. And then I think we'll get the board out and have a look. So there you can see we're pulling it forward. So let's pop off the UFLs. That's one. two. So that's the front two, and we need to undo the fan connector. I'd hate to know how many times I've taken a set of these goggles apart. I think we'll have a look. That looks fine. That one looks fine. No issues there. Antenna ports are very loose, but that is about it. Okay, so that leaves us inside. Oh, that camera focus is not right, is it? Let's get that camera focus right. There you go. Okay, that's better. Sorry. So that then leaves us the two display cables, which is... Oh, well, then, let the focus sort itself out. There we go. So this then just leaves the two display cables to undo, and then the two internals. So I'm just going to carefully pop the display connections off. There we go. You've also then got the ribbon cable that runs underneath there that you do need to be aware of as well. I do have a full teardown video on these goggles if you're interested in seeing it. We've got this power cable on the side here. That needs disconnecting. We've then got the cable. Now this cable is actually stuck all the way along the bottom of the board, and it's stuck on with this little cover here. This doesn't look touched. This doesn't look touched at all. I don't think anyone has been near this based on what I'm seeing so far. Yeah, no one has... Yeah, no one's been in here. No one has been in here at all. So, I'm going to have to tear it down. We'll do a good check over, make sure everything looks correct, that there's no damage on the boards and all of that. And if we don't find anything, it'll be a flight test. And I'll be honest, if that's the case, I will put money the person returned them because of the loose UFLs. That would be not UFLs, the loose SMAs. Okay, PCB out. Ta-da! So for those who've not seen these goggles apart before, that is the main PCB. Taking a look around the bottom, what we're looking for is anything that looks like it's been on fire, basically. That there is just solder marks from around the soldering the battery down, because it takes a lot of heat to do that. Everything looks good on this side of the board. Not seeing anything there I'm particularly concerned about. This side of the board looks good. I think what we will do is continue. So we're going to need to undo that screw there and that screw there. Let me just reach over to my trusty iFixit toolkit. The iFixit toolkit is the perfect kit for this. Not sponsored by iFixit, bought by my wife, in fact. And I have to say, it is a phenomenal toolkit. So the two screws come out, and they then allow us to remove the duct cover. Let's come up closer. There we go. All the antenna UFLs look good. Okay. Next task, the metal can. Now there is going to be thermal compound under this, which is always going to be a bit challenging. Let me just get my blade to pop that up. What have I done with the Stanley blade? Just going to very carefully pop. Pop. I don't need to say pop every time I do it. That would just be a little bit mad. There we go. Boo-boo. All looking good. Okay, so let's come in. Let's get you in nice and close. There we go. Okay, so let's have a wander around, shall we? Wait for the zoom to work properly. So, looking around this board, we have obviously our main chipset here. We have our two memory chips over here. So what you have, and just to explain this on the teardown, so we've got the Artisan main chipset. You've got two SRAM chipsets. There's no ROM on this. It uses just external SRAM. The ROM is actually on board. So it has two SRAM chipsets over there. I think it's 4 megabytes off 4. I think it's 4. I can't remember. Was it 4 gig? I can't remember how much it was. There is a flash ROM over here. So you have got a WinBond flash ROM there, but the main, it's got memory on board as well. So what you've got is, you don't have like on DJI where you have a combined SRAM and ROM chip. You have two SRAMs and then you have a WinBond at the back here, which is pretty standard stuff. You've then got the main chipset. You've then got the main RF transceivers, which is these two here. So this is your front-end RF transceivers. On the Avatar HD system, for those who don't know, you have one antenna that transmits and 3 antennas that receive. So, for instance, if we look along, you've got your 2 transceivers. You'll notice that there are 3 chips that are these little black ones. So, U, and U. They are the receiver preamps. And then you've got one channel that transmits, and that's the one that has the Skyworks power amplifier on there. That is that one. So that feeds antenna channel 1, which is this one here. And then the other antenna channels are receive only. So 1 transmits, 3 receive. Technically, it's 4 receive because that one can receive as well, but it transmits. So that's the main layout. You've then over here got a big voltage regulator IC. And then if we pop over onto the back, on the rear of it, you've got the display drivers, the 2 Toshiba chips. So they're the 2 display drivers for the OLEDs. That's what provides the image output. And obviously, these goggles don't have official HDMI. So they have USB-C pass-through, and that's pretty much all there is. So, yeah. Looking at this so far, I see absolutely nothing wrong. Now, here will be a hint of just how much use this has had, because the viscosity of the thermal compound will tell me if this has been used a lot. No, it hasn't. So, after sort of 3 or 4 use cases of plenty of heat, the thermal compound starts to harden up. It doesn't take long. It's surprising. However, that is still very liquid. And as a result of that, it gives me a good hint that this hasn't really been used. It's a way you can sort of tell the age. So, from a PCB point of view, everything looks good. I think it's a reassemble, and what we will do next then is do some spectrum analysis and check that the RF outputs behave as expected as well. We'll do that on the live stream. Can you buy this thermal compound? You can. Cadex actually sell it for their heatsink repairs. You can get it on AliExpress as well. It's not the cheapest stuff in the world, though, this stuff. Every time I've gone to buy it, it's quite expensive. But yeah, I'm really seeing no issues at all this. So, with regards to this thermal compound, do I want to move anything around? No, I'm fairly happy with that. I'm going to put it back as it was. It'll go back. It's not going to want much. I don't have any spares, but it'll goop back in when I get everything in the right places. So if I just push the heat shield back down in the right places, and then I'm just going to put a bit of pressure on top of the main IC, bit of pressure on the transceivers. The thermal compound that's there will goop back in. Yeah, here we go. Okay, so let's reassemble, and then we'll get it on the spectrum analyzer. I should have probably done the spectrum analyzer before tearing it down, if I'm honest. I never actually thought of that till about 20 seconds ago. But hey, it was worth having a look. Did it look like it if it had been on fire? So far, you could use any thermal paste. Just don't use liquid metal. You can use Arctic, any of them. It'll be fine. Just don't use liquid metal, for God's sake. If you don't know what liquid metal is, it's thermally conductive. So as long as it's a non-thermally conductive compound, you'll be absolutely fine. Arctic will be fine. I use Arctic on a lot of stuff. So, okay, time to reassemble. Now, the good thing with these goggles, and this is where I've had my arguments on just Cadex's comments on upgradability, not electrically conductive. Yes, is what I mean. Not, you want it thermally conductive, not electrically conductive. But yeah, this is where I sort of go against the comments of the Goggles X are really easy to upgrade, because my argument is this board really isn't difficult to get to, and I think this board is very replaceable. I think this board is very replaceable, and I if you notice on my review of the Goggles X, I didn't label on I have collected a box of that thermal compound, yeah. I didn't label, labor on the fact that they were upgradable. I did mention it, and Cadex were very keen for people to talk about that fact in reviews. A lot of the time when I get products for review, I do get sort of notes and things they want me to talk about, which is fine, you know, I don't have to, but it's the stuff I sort of then make a choice on what I am going to talk about. And they were very keen for people to talk about that element. And whilst I mentioned it, I certainly wasn't going to sell it as the be-all and end-all. Now, something I'm going to do a minute is I'm going to stop recording for 10 seconds. And I tell you why. I need to go back and look at the antenna order. Because I've forgotten. So, right. I'm going to start recording again. But that means now I've got a separate file I can look at. So let me just go to my recording a second. And this is the great thing with doing things on a video, because I can go back and have a look. Let me just have a look. Oh, no, not there. Not there. No, not there. Okay, there we go. So that side, yeah, that from, oh yeah, so it's 1, 2, 3, then 4. Yeah, okay, cool. Remembered now. These are the Dominators. So, let's tighten these antenna ports. They are very loose. Very, very loose. I reckon they were returned because of the antenna ports. Genuinely, I think that's what's ended up happening. I think whoever's bought them has gone, don't like that. So that one wants to go there. So this one is the third one along, which is the transmitting antenna. You would have thought with the amount of time I've torn these goggles down in the past, I'd remember this bit, but sadly I don't. Yep, that's him on. That's that one. Then, let me just look as I figure out which... Okay, so that's definitely that one. That's definitely that one. Which of those two is which? Let me just watch the video. I want to put it back in the same order, just so I know. I'm adjusting it. Typical. Ah, buggers. Okay. I'm just trying to see which antenna is which. That one there, that one there. That's one. Oh, that's 1, 2, 3, then 4. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I've worked it out now. Okay, so that one, that one. To be honest, it's less important as long as I've got the transmit one in the right place. For those who just joined, so just to explain, these are the goggles that I bought from Hobby RC that were customer return, sold as damaged. Okay, so that's the two antenna connections on. We've then got the front ones to do and then reconnect the displays. So we'll do the displays after I do the other front 2 connectors. I'm just going to pop it down here because it's a bit easier to do it like this. So these are the ones that I bought that are apparently faulty. Very fiddly on the UFLs. Do you know what? This is that part where you need about 2 sets of hands because it's not easy to do. Come on. Bear with me, folks. There we go. That's that one done. And one more. Oh, these front ones are incredibly loose. Come on. I really think this person returned them because of the UFLs. Do you know what? These have always been a bit of a sod to get back on. Here we go. Got it. Right. Sorry about that. That was a bit of a challenge. Okay, so let's now get the 2 display connections back on. So that's that one. And then we need to pop that one there, and then that under there, and then that one. This is really not easy to do and show you on camera at the same time. Here we go. Okay. So we have the front reconnected. We have that one goes along. Is that one right? Actually, that feels a little bit tight. That one feels a little bit tight. I think I actually need him to go through the hoop of the display connector. So he goes down there out the way rather than be up the top. And I'll show you what I mean on that now. So let's plug the fan back in. Okay, so we've got the antenna connections back on. We've got the antennas through there. We've got that through there. And then really it's just a case of this then all feeding back in. So if we do it upside down, it's basically a case of feeding it all down like that. And then the goggles hop in like that. How do you tighten did you tighten the antennas? No, I'll do them from the outside. I'll do them in a second. They're on the outside, not the inside. So the nuts for them are on the outside. So looking down there, yeah, everything's in, everything's connected. That's fine. And they just push together. They're not particularly hard to put together, these goggles. And then we're just going to get the screws up, and then we'll power them back up. And then we'll get them on the spectrum analyzer and check it works as expected. And then I think what I'll end up doing, that fan is huge compared to the old ones. We'll check the connection between the SMA and the UFL. Yeah, I think what I can actually test it manually on the analyzer. Believe it or not, you can actually pick it up on the analyzer. I'm not convinced there's anything actually wrong with them. I now am leaning on the fact that I suspect someone bought these, right? Let me come back to full while I tighten them. I'm going to put a bet that someone bought these. The antenna connections were really loose. They didn't get great signal for some reason. Might be nothing to do you know, with the goggles themselves. They might have tried Avatar and went, "Ooh, that's not working properly. I don't like that." Because, you know, it is complex if it's actually working properly. It's, you know, they might be used to DJI. They could be used to analog. They might not be used to digital. And then I think someone's gone, "Ooh, I don't like this. I don't like the quality," and they've returned them. And they've reported signal issues because the antenna connections are very loose. Those ports... if you only had one VTX camera, antenna, and goggles, it's really hard to troubleshoot anything. Yeah, exactly. And this is the thing. And I it's like anything, right? I think the antenna connection, that's enough for the money you pay for something like this, right? To get touchy over things like loose antenna connections. You know, you've spent, what were these goggles at their peak? £400-500, and you get them and the antenna connections are loose, you're gonna freak a little bit. You are going to get a little bit upset. So things like that for me are hardly surprising. I'm not shocked that someone might have just gone, you know what, this is meant to be a premium product. This is meant to be a premium product, and, you know, it's got these issues. Right, that's that one done. Would you say Walk Snail is reliable enough for long range? Yeah, look, Walk Snail is absolutely capable of long range. Absolutely capable of long range. It's as reliable as DJI for long range. I'd actually say it's a little better for long range than DJI because it doesn't have a limit. It also tends to work very well with a lot of antenna. And what I mean by that is the guys who've flown this distance, they use quite a lot of antenna on their system and they get good results. So the ports are now tight. Let's put some antennas on. Yes, I'm using the DJI antennas. I nicked them off my set of V2s because they were the closest to me. I couldn't be bothered. Prop tool works a little better than a spanner. Yeah, it can do, but I just have the spanner to hand. Cool. Okay, so let's power them up. Okay, so let's get the spectrum analyzer up and running. Now, I am risking something doing this. I am streaming, recording, and I'm going to open the analyzer at the same time. This is asking for problems. Just be warned, okay? If I vanish, you know what's happened. 5900X. But this analyzer will cripple anything. This thing is, this analyzer is a bit of an animal. So, you've got to be a little bit careful with it. It will wipe out. I've been, funny enough, while you're talking about the PC, I've been waiting to upgrade. I want to go back to Intel. What is my spectrum analyzer? It is an Aronia Spectrum V6. So this is a high-end PC analyzer. Now let me just get the desktop up and running. This is, just to give you an idea, it's capable of overloading 2 USB-C Thunderbolt ports. Boom. Okay. Okay, let's get into Spectrum mode. yeah, it'll kill 2 Thunderbolt ports. It has dual USB inputs. At the moment, I'm only running it on one. So we can see if we were getting the transmitting signal from the goggles. Yes, so what we're going to do, first of all, is get into them. And let's select a channel. So I don't want to be playback. So let's go to channel 1. Thank you. So channel 1 should be 5675. Now we know the goggles are transmitting. 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 5. There it is. Yeah, there's that carrier. Give me a minute. Let me just get myself set up so you guys can see it. Hello, there it is. 5, what did I say I should be? 5675 to 5715. 5675 to 5715. 5675, 5700. We should be. There we go. There's the center. So, just to give you an idea. So, what we're going to do first of all is check which antenna port is transmitting. So, I do have this on the right port. Now, we're at minus 60. Yes, that all looks fine. So, the first thing we want to do is make sure we know which port is transmitting. So, no, no, no. Yee, the right one is doing what it should be doing a minute. Okay, that's good. We're then going to try and pop the goggles out of low power mode because they're currently in low power mode, 25 milliwatts. So what I'm going to do is get it to the right place a second. Oh no, wait there. I need to power the VTX up. Let me kick the VTX in as well. We need VTX as well. Let's just wait for it to kick in, and then you'll also see the video carrier appear on the band in a minute when everything connects. Okay, so let's get down. Okay, so standby mode is currently on. Okay, so let's just get the spectrum analyzer set up properly because we're not. Okay, we're on auto, we're on there, right. So let's jump the IQ range up a touch. Let's go to double the IQ range, so that way we're going to be able to see everything properly. Okay, so that is the carrier from the goggles there. I don't have an antenna showing on this at the moment on purpose, right? But that is the carrier from the goggles there. And if you want the carrier from the video, I need to get over. My cables are a little tight. I actually run the connection in for the spectrum analyzer without an antenna on, and I do this on purpose because it keeps the interference down in my workshop. So let me put the goggles on the menu to make sure we can turn off. Fucking VTX, I think it's overheating already. It don't take long. Right, standby mode. Okay, so what we're going to see. Okay. Standby mode on. Standby mode off. So what you're seeing there with that increased RF output is the RF power changing. You're actually seeing, can you see that bit of a carrier below? That carrier below is the video carrier. Currently, let me just change the power setting to something a little bit more, let's just say, noticeable. Okay, is the term I'll use. Noticeable is the term I'm going to use. So now's their carrier. If we... Boom. That's the goggles at full RF power. And now you can actually see the video carrier appearing below it. So what you're actually seeing here is this is the goggles carrier this one here, and this is the video carrier appearing below because it has an increased RF output. And then if I turn standby mode back on, yeah. Okay, so RF output power is working. I've got no concerns there. Just to demo that for you right over here, right a sec. So let me just move this a bit closer. God, the fan made me jump. So that there is the video carrier. So what you're seeing there is the video carrier in low power mode. And then if I turn on standby mode, that's low power mode. And what you'll now see is if we turn off low power mode, you can then see that power carrier increase dramatically to full RF power. And because I'm so close to it, that's why you're seeing all of this noise at the side. And like if I just do something, that's max power. That's the next power level down. That's the next power level down. That is the next power level down. That is the next power level down. And that is the lowest power level. So just to give you an idea of... Ooh, I've lost my window. Am I still streaming? I've lost YouTube. Have I lost the internet connection? I don't know. Someone tell me, am I still here? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's weird. My window went. Yeah, weird. My PC's struggling a little bit is what's happening. So, yeah. Okay. So, everything looks good. Spectrum analysis is fine. Looks good. Look, we can't measure RF power levels this way. It's not the right way to do it. But overall, RF power behavior is looking correct. So, that's fine a minute. So, let's just shut that down and kill that before. Let me just get this. Oh, this VT, I can smell. Ow! That VTX is very, very hot. Hence the reason I put a fan on it. Ow! That was running hot. Okay, so so far I'm not seeing any issues. So let me just go into the channel settings. I can't really comment in here if the channel settings are fine. I'm going to have to go for a wander and test it. Set in 1080p mode at the moment. Someone add it in. High frame rate mode. Just checking it on there. VTX is overheating, 91 degrees. Brilliant. So the VTX. Did you test it with a VTX that goes up to 1200 milliwatt? I can't possibly comment on what power level I tested it to. But yes. Overall, so far so good. Really, what I'm going to have to do next is take it out for a fly and a test. And then for the actual video element of this, I'll be coming back and telling you the outcome of it. So I'm going to stop recording that there. My opinion is the loose UFLs and someone didn't like it, is what my opinion was. Now, what I am going to say is this. If there's anyone in the UK, I got to fully test these and make sure they're working. But if there's anyone in the UK who wants to buy a set for £180, send me an email. You can have them at the cost I had them at, as long as they're working properly. And I will check that they are working properly. I do need to make sure that they are correct. If anyone is interested in a set for 180 quid in the UK, I will happily sell them on for what I paid for them, because I won't be keeping them. I have no need to keep them. I was quite I'm a bit disappointed that they haven't come completely battered up I can sort shipping abroad. Yeah, if someone's interested, I've got to fully test them because I wouldn't want to do anything that isn't fully tested. I do need to make sure that they are working 100% correctly. But if anyone is interested, send me an email because, in some ways, I'm quite disappointed. It would have made a great video if I'd have opened them up and they'd have been burnt out and on fire or something like that. The fact they're not is a little disappointing. What I want to do, though, is make sure that they are working properly because I don't want to hand them over to someone who, if there's something untoward. So they're not going to get a lot of use, but I am going to take them down the field to finish the video, make sure I'll test them against an equivalent set of goggles. And I will make sure that they are 100% because that way the person knows that they're getting a product that's working. So if there is anyone interested, just reach out to me on Discord or anything like that. It's not about making money. It's not about anything like that. Do you know how you do a ride along with Dominators? Yes, you can. With these, you can ride along to other Avatar HDs. You can set them into the mode. But yeah, 180 quid in the UK. There's someone. Can you imagine what it would have been if it had been a video of them like burnt out? I am a little disappointed. I'll be honest. I am a little disappointed. No, they don't have HDMI in, so they are the original Fatshark goggles. I am a little disappointed. There's 50% of me that was like, I hope they're like really bad. Do you know what I mean? Because it would have made a great video, wouldn't it? It would have made an absolutely fantastic video if they'd have been like burnt out or smashed up or kicked around, something like that. Do you know what I'm guessing as well? And this somewhat explains Hobby RC putting... I'm guessing they had them in, they had a look at them and just went, you know what? We don't know really if they're working or not. Let's just sell them as they are. I'm a bit surprised because if I was Hobby RC, I'd have just given them to one of the local pilots and said, tightened up the UFLs, given it to one of the local pilots who has Avatar and said, guys, here, try them out. And yeah, go from there. But so far looks good. I got to tidy the box up. The box is very clean. The packet's got a little bit of dirt in it, which I want to clean up as well. There's nothing. It's quite disappointing that they are dramatically in good condition. Internally, they don't look like they've been taken apart. And there's nothing wrong with them as far as we can tell. Half the time, and yeah, bit strange that. Absolutely a bit strange. But look, let me make sure I put them through a set of tests on the field first. That's the most important thing, is that they are working as intended. What I'm going to do is 2 sets of testing. So just so people are fully clear, I am going to put them through a burn-in test on the bench, just to make sure the OLEDs behave as expected, just to make sure everything there is okay, no problems at all. They'll go through a full set of testing on signals. I'll make sure everything looks good, check the HDMI output via the USB, just make sure everything's correct. I'll update the firmware as well myself before doing anything, and then get them down the field and put them through a test with another set of goggles. So, and I'll just check that they are working as intended and that there isn't anything a bit untoward that it's a bit unusual. Do you know what I mean? What is quite difficult is for me to test it in here from a signal point of view, because there's Wi-Fi everywhere in here. So it's never going to say to me, hey, this environment is perfect. It's always going to complain at me about this environment. So I need to get it out into the field to be able to check. The only set of Avatar goggles that have been QC'd. Should check the RF before fitting the UFLs. What do you mean check the RF before fitting the UFLs? I don't understand what you mean. All the RF checks can be done afterwards. I can test the antenna ports afterwards. I can do the antenna port testing from the test menu, the debug menu. Power. Power's fine. Power's going to work or it's not, right? Power's fine. I can test the RF power on the analyzer externally. I don't need to do it from these things. I can do that's fine. The RF power is I can do comparative testing on another set of goggles here. That's not a problem. The reality is they will basically work or they won't. The reality is they will either work properly or they won't. The board is unlikely to have quirky RF errors because you're not going to see them. The thing people sort of, the only real RF error you're going to have on this is that it isn't transmitting properly. And that doesn't appear to be the case so far. Everything looks good. I will do a comparative RF test just to make sure everything is what I would expect. But yeah, it's unlikely there's going to be a dramatic amount wrong. What you will find on a product like this is you're either going to have like a burnt out power connector. It's been, lit up with success. Have I checked the power output? The UFLs were on fine. They're okay. They were not loose. They were not disconnected. They were fitted absolutely perfectly. There was nothing in the teardown that hints of any issues. They weren't loose. The UFLs actually were their usual nightmare to get off. So there's no reason for there to have been a problem there. And remember, look, you could have one antenna problem on these goggles and you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know because of the 3 receive. One antenna issue on these goggles is actually not going to make that much of a difference. If someone was having signal issues, you're going to have one of 2 things. You're going to either have a problem on the TX port, which it doesn't have, or you're going to have a problem with something on the main PCB. Are dead pixels a given for FPV goggles? So far, every had at least a few. Displays. Small OLED displays, yeah. And LCD. Look, dead pixels are still very much a thing in displays. The quality of displays has got much better, but it will happen. And it happens on camera sensors. It happens on everything. If it's distracting or a problem, speak to the manufacturer. But it will happen, especially on, the low-cost kind of display that you get in these. Are those Rhino lipos from Hobby King? So this is a zippy that I have had. This is one of my goggle packs, okay, that I keep fixing. It's covered in tape, look. I've had to resolder these cables. The reason that's taped up is I had to put all new balance lead on it. For a lipo that's like 8 years old, it's still going strong. This thing is, the internal resistance isn't great anymore, I'll be honest. These zippies were really good packs. Nanotechs. Yeah, I've got a few blue nanotechs here. It's not even spongy. And just a funny thing with these lipos. I have killed this pack so many times. Dead. You know what I mean? Really drained this pack down to like 1.5 volt a cell. And it always recovers. Yeah, when lipos were cheap. Definitely. It's a bit spongy. It's not bloated though. You look at that pack, how many years old that is. There's no puff there. They're good batteries. And honestly, I've killed this thing so many times. But I can't, yeah, the good old days. I can't give it up. I spent like an hour one day still resoldering a balance cable on it because they kept breaking at the battery side. So I ended up cutting it all open and redoing it. I just don't want to let this pack die. I really don't. It's quite funny. Good to know. I have no idea what to expect. This is my first contact with FPV goggles. I've just experienced with the VR headset so far. I've never seen a dead pixel on them. Yeah, look, what goggles are we talking about, Mr. Really Yo? What are we talking? DJI, Avatar HD? What are we talking? Look, I've seen dead pixels on all of them. It would be unfair for me to say one's worse than the other because I don't think it is. There is an issue on the Avatar goggles where you can get some stuck pixels, and if you I have 2 Goggles X and 1 Dominator. That's bad luck if you've got dead pixels on all of them. The Goggles X do have a firmware update that is meant to fix some of the stuck pixels. Pretty much all of the goggles use the same displays. It's Tim, yes. There are not many displays out there available on the market. It's a very small world, the display world is. The displays that are used in the Goggles X, I actually know what they are. Let me show you. So if we go to the desktop, and I need to switch over to that one. That's the best one. If I go into my FPV wiki, because I actually have the displays listed on there. Don't you love that random Windows item disconnected sound, yet you never know what it is? There are times I sit here and get the Windows disconnect sound when I'm recording content. It's so annoying at times. I end up actually having to mute the PC. Yet I can never figure out what it is. There is that random doo-doo. And you're like, was it anything I'm using? So, if we look at the Goggles X, and if we look at the teardown images, here is the back of the OLEDs. And this is the model number. So it's the SY049W. So it's the SY049W. So if we search for SY049W. Now, that's 0.49 of an inch is what it is. SY049W DMO01. WDM01, I think it is. Something like that. OLED. Oh, not PLED. OLED. Might be 5W. It's definitely that. So it is. I thought it was SY049W. I'm sure that's the model number. SY, not SW. SY0. Ah, there it is. Sorry, couldn't find it. So, yeah, so SY, there it is. So it's by Sia. Now, Sia tend to make all of the OLEDs out there. They're one of the big OLED manufacturers. So that's it there. That's the OLED panel. 0.49 of an inch, 1920 by 1080p full resolution, 369 ppi. And it's pretty much the same display used in everything. Yeah. Very common. It's not. There aren't that many small 0.49 of an inch displays. And if you look at the pricing, right, if you try to buy them, they're like £400 a pair. They're not cheap. But yeah. There aren't that many small displays on the market. There really isn't. It's surprising. Evening, what's up? How are you, my friend? Pull up the reliability monitor. View reliability history. Is that the one you're on about? Let's have a look. I ain't got nothing here. Windows was not properly shut down. Well, I haven't shut it down. I was streaming at night then. So I don't know what that's talking about. How trivial is the replacement for V1 goggles? Display-wise is not easy. Yeah, it's not showing anything. Not there. Any update on rocky, twitchy behavior of Avata? Nothing that I've seen. Nothing that I've seen. While I'm doing this, I was meant to be finished the latency video. I'm going to do that when I come off this stream now. I'm going to finish the 04 latency video, and that'll be shared on the channel probably later this week. That's the stuff usually shows when it crashes a driver. Ah, right, okay. So, right, guys, I'm going to wind this one up. That's all a little bit disappointing. I'll be honest. I was hoping for burn and flames. I didn't want to lose 180 quid, don't get me wrong. But I was hoping for something a little bit more interesting than that. But we haven't. Anyway, thank you for spending some time with me. I'm going to go and do a bunch of bench testing on these goggles to make sure they do what they say they do. Look after yourself. Stay safe. Stay safe. Stay safe. That's why I take so many takes to do stuff. Because I just say all sorts of nonsense. I will speak to you soon. Later.